Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we're talking about the brand new Star Wars show, Obi Wan Kenobi. Episodes 1 and 2 are out, and we're here to talk all about it. This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Hey guys, it's Old Prague Kenobi.
Guess what, fans? We're back on the sands of Tatooine. This is Alexander Wolfgang. What's up, boys? How about
Like
them
sands
beaches?
through the hourglass.
Oh, these are the days of our lives.
All right, guys.
Sands of Tatooine once again. You would think that they would learn off of Boba Fett, but my friends, no, they did not.
That's okay.
This is it. These sands, they're like sinking sand. You just can't get away.
Oh, we can't get away. Oof. Wait, sinking sand? Quicksand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the slower you go in it, that's the only way out. But, oh, God.
You'd think that would help with some of these shows, but that's later.
Yes, sir. So we're talking Obi Wan Kenobi, which I feel like this has been pretty much one of the more exciting things to look forward to with Disney Plus and whatever Star Wars at the moment.
It's a more familiar thing, I think. Because we didn't know what the Mandalorian was going to be about when it started, and we had no idea that Boba Fett was going to come. So yes, this was probably the first thing that was really kind of like, oh, we know that character. We know what's going on here. Let's go find out his, middle story. It's not really a backstory. It's like the middle story. What happens?
It's like it fit itself in somehow, like before Rogue One, after Episode 3, and then Rebels, and I couldn't tell you where we're at with this whole show. So. But you know what?
We'll get Dave Filoni on the phone. We'll be right back. Hold on.
That's true. And in 9 years, Obi-Wan is going to somehow turn into a super old Englishman. So,
yes.
That'll be.
But that's not the only thing we're talking about today, huh, Trevor?
That's true, because since we're talking Star Wars, Prague and I attended Star Wars Celebration. And so part of the reason they delayed this to Friday is so they could have the big reveal of the show at the con. And so we get to talk about our hands-on experience or feet-on-the-ground experience at the con.
Oh, my feet hurt. Let me tell you.
Lasers
I'm not used to walking. It's been 3 years since I've walked anywhere. So,
well, you better ice those feet because we got Comic-Con coming up next month. Wow. So be prepared for that too.
Oh boy.
There'll be a lot more walking. Anyways, you're absolutely right. Anyways,
at least we're not walking on the sands of Tatooine.
Oh God, or on our fake camel. So, where should we start?
So, in case you've never listened to the Secondary Heroes, and this is a brand new show, so we have no continuity or anything, we like to talk spoiler-free. How was the show? Did we like it? Was it good? Are we interested for more? And then we're going to give you a spoiler warning and go all in of our favorite parts of, our worst aspects of it, and just really analyze what is Disney doing with Star Wars? What is Star Wars doing as a whole? And then, of course, we're going to talk Star Wars Celebration. So this is a jam-packed episode, so let's get going.
We are packing it in. Never mind. I had something really bad and crude to say, but let's not, baby. Who wants to start? Not it.
Not it? Well, I thought you watched both episodes, Alex, right?
As I do, I watched 1.5 episodes, so I've still got about 25 minutes left of the second episode to finish off. So,
okay,
yay! So that's where I'm going to let you guys start, and then I will throw in my little.
All right, I'll go. Okay.
Ayo.
You had the fun build up to it, right?
Right. So I was I think the only one of us that got to go to the live showing at San Diego. God, it's not Comic-Con.
Wow.
Star Wars Celebration. Because Trevor, you didn't come back the night to go watch it with the crowd. So what they did is that they gave us, the ones that went to the panel in the morning, they gave us the opportunity to come back and watch it with thousands of other Star Wars fans to watch the first 2 episodes. Turns out only about an hour before everybody else. It was supposed to be, several hours before everybody else. That's okay. So I actually got to see it with thousands of other fans, which I think might have skewed my enjoyment. But I did rewatch the 2 just to make sure I'm like, okay, was it too hyped up because I was with a crowd? But I think the way I reacted to it was the same, maybe slightly elevated with the audience. But I really enjoyed these 2 episodes. It's not, in my opinion, the best that Disney Plus has offered us at all, like in terms of like Marvel and Star Wars. But I really did enjoy it, which is something that kind of surprised me because I didn't know if I really cared too much about Obi-Wan's middle story too much, of what he was doing, in the cave on Tatooine for many years. But I was pleasantly surprised because it kind of pulled a bait and switch on us. For those of you who did watch the trailer, I'm not going to spoil it here in my non-spoiler review, but there was a bit of a bait and switch, which was a nice surprise. I was like, oh, okay, so maybe we won't be sticking around on these sands of Tatooine for too long, which is kind of nice.
So real quick, did you get to watch both episodes with the crowd or just one?
We watched both episodes with the crowd and the entire cast and crew of the show. So that was kind of fun. Yeah. So a lot of excitement. These are people that are diehard Star Wars fans that love all of Star Wars. You have like people that also love the prequels and the sequels and the cartoons and the video games, and there's a ton of references in these 2 episodes. Specials. I like the holiday special, FYI, people out there. It's cheesy, it's corny, and I love it. But I will say that it's not a perfect show. I do have some issues with the 2 episodes. But I did enjoy them. There was a lot of fan service that really worked for me, but there was some fan service in this, and I would say it's a pretty good series for Disney Plus Star Wars. If I were to rank it in just 2 episodes, I'd probably say it's definitely better than Book of Boba Fett for me personally. But maybe not quite as good as The Mandalorian as a whole. Well, it's kind of on par with some of the episodes that we saw in like season 2 of The Mandalorian. It kind of had that same kind of flow.
Nice.
So there's my take.
Awesome.
So I would say that maybe I should have watched it with a bunch of other Star Wars fans, but just sitting at home and watching it, like I totally get what the direction is. Like we're trying to have the flow of the story mimic his life, and so it's going to be a very slow burn. It's kind of but I don't know if that makes for the best audience experience. I felt myself drifting away from what was happening multiple times, and like maybe it's the idea that this period's not too exciting just because I feel like I can tell the second by second detail of this time period within the Star Wars timeline because we focused so much on it. Like I pretty much have it down. And it's a limited series because there's an end point to this story. There's only so much you can do because we know what happens to Obi-Wan at some point. And they've already skipped past 10 years since the end of Revenge of the Sith. And now we have just 8 or so years until Luke is old enough for A New Hope. So we have this set time period that Obi-Wan can only do so much. And I mean, I don't know if I care what he was doing, and they haven't really gotten me to care. Like for me, I'm a big fan of Clone Wars and Rebels. I love the animated shows. I love the storytelling that Dave Filoni does. And Clone Wars goes a lot into the Obi-Wan and Anakin relationship, and it really develops Anakin into a very likable character that you understand how traumatic it is for Obi-Wan that he actually does fall to the dark side. And I don't know if I care. Like, I know there's this new renewed love for the prequels and all that work that we did so long ago that wasn't liked at the time. Now people like it. Sure. I know it's this like postmodernism thing in our society where the worse something is, the more it's beloved in our society. I don't care. I don't know why people wear Crocs. I don't know why people do any of the things they do, but the prequels are pretty much like wearing Crocs. And this show is not going to change that. Like it opens literally with a previously on, and it shows clips of the prequels, and they're still just as bad because all the delivery of everything is wooden. That's no fault to Hayden Christensen or Ewan McGregor or anybody. It's just, this is what George Lucas wanted him to do. I speak wooden in my life, and so my actors, I want you to speak just like I do. And that's still the same. That's not going to change. And it seems like in this show, Ewan McGregor's full on doing an Alec Guinness impression. Like there's scenes where he almost sounds just like he's going above and beyond to sound just like him. And I just don't know if they did enough to make me care to see this again, because the first 2 episodes, they're perfectly fine. They're not bad episodes. I just was relatively bored because it's a slow burn. And since it's such a slow burn, usually that's within context of it's building to something that's going to be a really big payoff. And I just don't see what the potential payoff could be. Like, they could totally surprise me by the end of episode 6. And I'm like, I was completely wrong. But it's tough to have excitement of a slow burn when we know where the end point is, and it can only be so exciting because it can't be at that grand of a scale.
Man, maybe you're looking too much into it.
I am. I'm looking way too much into it.
Star Wars show, yeah, that's okay. That's what we're
Star Wars, man.
So I think I went into this trying to take myself out of the prequel, and it's hard to do because you're absolutely right. There is the end point. We already know that, like, right once Luke turns 18 or 19, boom, here comes Obi-Wan into his life, like, full on. Old Ben Kenobi. Oh, the creep from the woods or the caves, whatever. No. But there was something about it that was intriguing. And you know what it is? And this is for me. I think it's just Ewan McGregor. I think I'm just intrigued to see Ewan McGregor on the screen again. Not even just as Obi-Wan Kenobi. I just like that dude. I like him. I think he's really cool. He just seems like a cool dude to be around and hang out with. And I'm like, cool. This guy, all right. I'm in just because of that. Now, the show just, it does, you guys definitely both hit on that it's not perfect, and you could definitely feel the not perfectness of it. But as someone like me who's just kind of like I'm a blasé fan of it all, I think I could find interest in it. I'm finding interest in it. Okay. I'm just hoping that they can keep that attention going, because I did feel myself kind of fizzling as each episode went. I was fizzling a little bit, going, kind of rolling my eyes at certain things, or thinking, why wouldn't you go just a little bit more this direction instead of how they went? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to stay out of spoiler territory here with this, but all in all, I actually did enjoy this. I'm intrigued to see what's going to happen next. Hopefully it's not just you know what? I was going to say, hopefully it's not just a bunch of side quests, but we all know this whole show is just a big side quest. So let's get into some spoilers. And before we get into spoilers, let's do socials. Make sure you guys check us out over on crossthestreamsmedia.com. You'll find all of our episodes, all of our YouTubes, all of our social medias, videos, episodes, you name it, it's on there. If you don't want to go over there, you can go straight over to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, which if you were following this week on our Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, we were sharing a bunch of stuff from Star Wars Celebration from Prog's feed, and a little, I think, Trevor, you might have done a little from there, but yeah, so you were able to, no, that was a no. Okay. So you were able to follow along a little bit on the journey of Star Wars Celebration through our social medias. And that's the type of stuff that you can expect from our social medias, is when we go to cons and all that fun stuff. And you can know when every episode drops. Follow us over on iTunes. Give us a 5-star rating, because honestly, it helps. Like, that helps people find us, and we want to be found. We don't want to be locked in a cave like Obi Wan Kenobi for the next 19 years. God save us if we're doing this for 19 years. Go over to YouTube, like and subscribe. You can watch us over there as well. We sometimes edit in little clips from the show. You can see Prog lick his fingers and rub his eyebrows. That is another thing that happens as well. Anyways, just remember, all of this is free for you, and it's priceless to us. So keep listening. We like it.
Awesome. So if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes yet, or you do care, like, if you don't care about spoilers, then let's steamroll right ahead. But if you do, this is the spoiler point, so you can pause it, come back later. And spoiling this show is interesting because it's different pathways of what the spoilers can go with. Just because you have, like, the actual storyline itself, there's the sudden death, but then there's the spoilers of what it means within Star Wars, and what Alex kind of hinted at, what storylines they could go, or they could go a little further into certain points.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah, exactly.
how do we want to start?
Well, I think we should start with like, what do we think the point of this show is supposed to be? Is it really just a like
To
a
make
character think piece?
money.
Well, obviously,
Alex
yes.
is on it.
I meant the non money Disney part. We know everything about this is about making money. Obviously, any show is about making money. But what is the point of this show? Like, is it going to be just a character think piece for Obi-Wan finding out that Anakin is alive and he has really fallen to the dark side and become this like evil ruler destroying the galaxy, or is it going to be him going just on a rescue mission the whole time to save
Oh
Princess
God.
Leia, which is the bait and switch that we were not expecting because it wasn't even teased at in any of the teasers. What is the story? I don't know. So
And that's what I
that's the one thing
found.
that I'm kind of confused about
I
so
almost
far.
felt like we spent more time with Princess Leia than we did with Obi-Wan.
Which is fine. I mean, it was shout out to the actress. I mean, whoever they found, she did a great impression of Carrie Fisher. Like she nailed it. She has the looks down. I just don't know what the point is other than fan service at this point, unless we're really going to see her develop her powers, which would be confusing because she doesn't use them until the
Oh
sequels,
my God.
the
Right.
later sequels. So
Leia Poppins.
Leia Poppins.
so I don't know what this is about. I would be more interested personally in, like, I'm a big fan of the Inquisitors, and not everybody is. I know there's a lot of people out there that hate the Inquisitors for some reason. I find them very fascinating, as I do any kind of flawed character. So I would be more interested in that storyline, but it seems like I don't know how much that's going to play into it. If it's just going to be Riva by herself or
That's
not.
what's interesting, just because you have an existing storyline with the Inquisitors and Rebels. That like
Mm-hmm.
in the entire trailer of Kenobi, it had this like live action Rebels vibe. Where like this is that period where we're going to see the Inquisitors and they're going to hunt down Jedi. It's also the same
Right.
time period as Jedi Fallen Order, and those are both same storylines of you have Inquisitors hunting down the last remaining Jedi, and they're just doing anything they can to escape. And that's what the trailer kind of hinted at. But now we get the show, and it's not really like there's the one that has this obsession with the myth of Kenobi, the third
Right.
sister, and everyone else is like, oh, just drop it.
Yeah,
It
forget about
doesn't
them.
matter. Yeah. And we have that storyline, but it seems almost second nature to, I need to stay hidden, but more importantly, I need to protect the kids. Like purposely it's Luke, but now it's now protect plural kids.
Right.
It's for the kids.
Yeah, it's for the children.
So I don't know what story they actually are going to tell, because when it very first started, I'm like, okay, this is live action Rebels, because we start with the Grand Inquisitor and their ship flies in and it shows like a relatively derelict town that is
Right.
just like under him. You can see, because Rebels really focuses on how the planets in under the Empire's rule are just in disrepair. Like everybody's running scared. There's no funds to anything. Everything is really in poor shape, and just everyone's scared and they hate the Empire, but they feel empowered, or they feel with no power at all. There's no empowerment at all. They just feel like this is life. We just have to keep our heads down and keep moving. And I was like, okay, we're going to get into this. And it was pretty much the first segment before the title sequence, and that's all we really ever got with live action Rebels. It was very weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. I'm not too sure why they didn't continue down that path. So
Well, I mean,
that's why I'm like,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
okay.
I feel like maybe they needed to do that for people like me who have never seen the Inquisitors before, because now I feel a little more intrigued by who these people are. I feel,
Sure.
and I mean, then again, I also don't know it. They're not one race. They're all over the map with alien species. So I'm like, how do they become Inquisitors? How is what is quote unquote an Inquisitor?
They hint at it.
Well, they say they hunt Jedi, but
no, they say that. Oh, maybe you
Jedi
haven't
hunt
watched that
themselves.
far. No, but
Oh,
they're
he
fallen
hasn't.
Jedi.
That's right.
Essentially,
Yeah,
they were Jedi who, when the Order 66 came around, they're like, yeah, no, I don't care. I'm not a Jedi. And so now they have the same Force sensitivity, but they're essentially wannabe Sith.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't get that far in the show. Sorry,
Yeah.
folks. Hey, maybe I'll edit this part out. I feel embarrassed.
But no, as the outset of the show, for people who haven't watched Rebels or anything, it makes sense to explain what Inquisitors are. The biggest question of Inquisitors, though, is I guess the Force Unleashed was the first one that kind of showed what Vader was doing, like, because there's always that rule of two with the Sith, and the underling always wants to overthrow the master. That's just how they do it. That's why they have a stupid problem and they just suck. But Vader wants to overthrow the Emperor, and so he's gonna has his own apprentice in the Force Unleashed and try to team up with him to do it. And so now we get into the whole Rebels and Clone Wars. Like, we've had that whole kind of idea that now Vader, he's gone out and he has this whole army of dudes that are Inquisitors. Like, supposedly Anakin has been looking for Obi-Wan for 10 years, and he has this whole fleet of guys to go look for him because there's just such a big galaxy. Anakin can't do it himself, and I don't know what else he's doing other than sitting in the bacta tank. Like, I don't know what else Anakin does. But anyway, once he does get word that Obi-Wan is alive, how does he not drop everything that he is doing and just no? There's a rumor that Obi-Wan is on Tatooine of all places, literally my home planet, and the stupid Owen and Beru have a kid they're raising who would just be old enough that Padme could potentially be pregnant with. No, Anakin's gonna be like oblivious to all that. That's why you can't tell too much of a story in this time period, because George Lucas left a lot of plot holes, and opening plot holes does not solve plot holes. It just makes the hole bigger.
It's a
couldn't
big
we
hole.
all use one of those big holes? Oh boy. Wow. That is amazing. I never thought about any of that. And hopefully we actually touch on some of that in the future episodes, maybe. Who knows?
I'm hoping so. Because it's not just Trevor that was thinking. It's like everyone in the audience was talking about that.
Oh God, that would be so embarrassing.
Like, what's going on? I have a feeling that this is purposeful. Like, I think that there is a reason why this is happening. And I think there's a reason why it's just Reva that has this information and is seeking him out, because she says that she was owed. And what does that mean? I don't know. And it might be something that he wants to keep this under wraps, because maybe he is afraid of Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan did chop him into bits and left him for dead. Like, he thinks that Obi-Wan is super powerful. Maybe he doesn't want to have his whole army after him. I don't know. I hope that they do resolve that plot hole, because it is pretty gaping, and I have to have some kind of trust in the team.
I mean, they have 4 episodes to do it. Just the first 2 episodes,
I know,
just are like, here's Inquisitors, and they don't really care about Obi-Wan, and hey, Anakin, we glance him at the very end of episode 2.
Yeah, I mean, my only thing is that I think the Grand Inquisitor said that, and I'm pretty sure it was him that said this, that they had spent the last 10 years looking for him. They can't find him. He is obviously gone. Like, there's too many there's other fish that we can catch, pretty much. Right. So maybe it's just that. Maybe they're just tired. 10 years of looking for this guy, and they can't find him. You know, we have this other guy. We can find him. We saw him today. Let's go after him.
Like, I do like the whole
surmise.
Yeah, the storyline though of just his opening speech where he's talking about the compassion of Jedi and just their core sentiment. They can't stay low. If there's somebody in danger, that's a really cool speech. It was very Agent Smith and Matrix, just talking to the camera.
That's
and just
what it felt like.
He's just like literally telling how things are. And we have this one Jedi who literally has to stop the knife when it's going to be thrown at somebody, this younger Jedi. And then it does a really good job of showing the juxtaposition of Obi-Wan is literally abandoning everything. He's going to the meat factory every day and cutting meat slabs, and that's his day every single day.
Yep.
And he goes back and watches Luke for a couple minutes, what it seemed.
Yeah.
Yep, make sure he's doing okay, and goes back to his daily grind and doesn't help the other Jedi out and lets him die.
And it was also weird seeing him not in Jedi robes. Just seeing Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan not in Jedi robes, it was weird.
For a brief amount of time, it was kind of weird.
You should watch Moulin Rouge. He never wears his Jedi robes in that movie.
Yeah, I've seen Trainspotting.
He sings too.
He is a fantastic singer, by the way. Oh my God, great movie. Anyways, but we're not talking Moulin Rouge. No, that was having multiple Jedi on Tatooine, though, and then having that Jedi actually confront Obi-Wan. I just felt like there was too much that like, oh, and that Jedi running away from the Inquisitors. He runs away and he brings down some sticks.
Yeah, we'll talk about the action in a minute here.
Yeah,
continue on what you were going to talk about, though.
It was a little clunky. I feel like I'm all over the place right now. And here's the thing. You guys right now, you're on a roll. I'm kind of just enjoying what you guys are saying because it's filling me in to get me more excited for the show because everything you're saying, I'm like, ooh, this is
well, to damper your excitement,
no,
let
don't
me just
don't do
go to some of the flaws that I had, which I also have with all of these Disney Plus Star Wars shows so far. And that is this lack of, I don't know, energy. It's not as the action is just not dynamic in a lot of these shows. Yeah. And I don't know what the reason for that is. I don't know if it's the directors having this issue, if it's stunt choreographers, but there's a lack of oomph, weight, excitement in a lot of the action scenes.
Oh no,
we saw this weight to it.
It's just very slowed down, weighted. It feels like they're weighted down.
Yeah, what I'm saying is there's just a lack of energy. Like you look at the episode in Boba Fett where they have the chase through the streets on the speeder bikes. Like that is one of the slowest, most horrifically shot chase scenes in the history of cinema and television. And it's like, why? It just keeps happening. And it's one of the flaws I've noticed in all of these Star Wars shows so far. And like when you go to the movies to see Star Wars on the big screen, you don't have that issue at all. Like at some of the best action scenes in all of film are in these films. So what is going on Disney Plus? Is it the volume? Is that hurting them? Like, can they not get a good running speed to go from one end of the volume to the other to make, a good chase scene? Is it an editing issue? I don't know, but that chase scene with Leia through the woods was just hard to watch.
No. Oh.
Was just, I mean, I feel bad for her because she did her best. But it's like, come on, you're grown men and you can't chase this girl.
It wasn't even like it looked like a Mac and Me style.
It did.
Yes,
tripping over something. Like there's the log comes down and he goes straight up to the log, stops and stumbles backwards like a Power Rangers bad guy. And it's like, oh, what do I do now?
Action, right? It's like
it's 90s action. Yeah.
Or like a twig.
Not working for me.
She would run straight through this twig, and the twig would come back, and he goes, "Ugh!" And then he had to run around the tree. It was like, wait, you couldn't walk through the twig too?
And they move a bunch too. Like they stand in place and they're moving their arms around. And they made the stormtroopers on Endor look good. That's what they did. I was thinking of the stormtroopers on Endor because it's all in the woods and stuff. And I'm like, this has a similar vibe. But at least the Ewoks were fighting back. Like she's literally just running away.
Yeah, like... I don't know. It's just there's a lack of energy there, and I just don't understand.
Counterpoint to that, though, the very open of the show with the Order 66 from a different angle, which is kind of like the Marvel shows doing the snap from different angles. I really liked that, and that was like that too. That Jedi was very impressive. Which she was flipping all around and going against multiple clones at once.
Whoever that stunt person was, fantastic, man. And she did that during the whole one take. She kept like flipping around and moving her sword. That was great. I did enjoy that. That's a good fair point.
I do want to give a shout out to Needles from Back to the Future 2 and 3.
Oh, Flea, yes.
He had to make an appearance, which kind of took me out of it because his outfit almost made him look like he was wearing tie-dye, and he just I was like, why is there a chili pepper on the screen right now? Like there should not be a chili pepper here.
They're doing this a lot with these new Star Wars shows. They're bringing in all these cameos that are kind of jarring, to say the least. I think at this point I'm kind of getting used to it, but it's still jarring.
So, but the cameos that we had in Mandalorian were kind of useful. Like they,
that's true. They did end up becoming useful, but they're still jarring at first. And you're like, oh, that's Amy Starr. It's like, oh my god.
Okay, yeah,
okay.
If we go back to the first time we talked about Mandalorian and had all these comedians in there, I remember saying, I don't like it. But I do remember the more we saw Amy Sedaris, I was like,
it developed into a character, sure.
Right. But Flea is not a comedian. He's not really an actor. So maybe that's where I lost my connection. And I'm like, silly. I feel like I'm watching like a Point Break with a kid being in space.
Yeah, I get you.
Even though Point Break was the lead singer of the Chili Peppers and not Flea, but whatever. Anyways, let's proceed.
But anyways, what I was gonna say is that the action, yes, could have been better, but I don't know. I think if you're gonna have these Inquisitors, you could have had them like, I don't know, use their sabers to break through, the scaffolding that fell down and stuff.
Right.
One thing of the Inquisitors, though, when literally the third sister is running across the rooftops, that was one of the worst things. Like you talked about Book of Boba Fett. I don't know what she was just flipping unnecessarily. Like it was like one step, and she's like, "Let me do a back somersault for no reason." It was like
you
this
did like the hardcore
Matrix thing. Yeah, it would look just like the Matrix in slow motion when they right at the start.
Everything is slow. That's what I'm saying. There's something about the energy. It's not dynamic, and I don't know who is making that decision for these shows. I don't get it.
I do want to say for the people who are listening to us for the very first time, we don't just trash every episode. We trash everything.
Everything.
So we're going to go
say
in
why the trash, and you can't just like this sucks. Tell me why.
Right, exactly. So thanks for sticking around this far so far.
But I do enjoy, like, just despite its flaws, like I did enjoy these 2 episodes because I love Star Wars, so it kind of just gets to me no matter what sometimes. So
I think how like the action scenes isn't the part that you would expect to be the poor part of Star Wars. That's why I think it's such a weird juxtaposition.
Right.
It's the speaking parts that were actually really good in this show.
Yep, because Ewan McGregor is such a great actor.
Oh, he is.
Like just his face when he finds out that Anakin's alive was like devastating. Like, oh my god, this guy's been going through PTSD for 10 years, and he just finds out that his best friend and.
So the fun part about that. In everything we've seen, it seems that Obi-Wan cut himself off from the Force. Whether it's Luke, whether it's Fallen Order, we have this idea. You cut yourself off from the Force. And somehow, some way, when Leia's falling, he's able to snap back into it and save her. Literally grab her so here's
the thing
down.
about that scene, and I get that because he didn't snap into it. It took him a minute. Like he literally had to force that in it, but it was not the right way to edit that scene. It made it look like, I don't know, like she was falling for so long and it wasn't that far to fall.
They made her fall.
I get
motion. So that way
right.
He had to go back and forth and think about it.
She was falling in slow motion, but he was thinking in real time.
He was doing everything in real time, and she just.
But for me personally, I didn't think that wasn't the issue. The issue was the editing of it. Like I felt like he couldn't use the Force and was really trying his hardest to get it to work. And she was almost at the point where she was gonna, fall and splatter on the ground, and he was able to force,
So I think that was kind of one of the things that was a little bit of bothersome for me, is maybe I didn't understand the fact that he cut himself off from the Force. Like, is that explained anywhere? Like in Rebels
more of
or
an
anything?
assumption that's why the Inquisitors wouldn't be able to find him, because you would be able to
they
sense...
would be able to sense him right away. I mean, if he's that powerful, they would have been like, oh, there's a Jedi here for sure. We feel him.
Yeah, but wouldn't they feel the metachlorians? Sorry. I know that our audience's eyes are rolling so hard right now. Anyway,
because they're probably saying the same thing. I think a lot of this show does depend on the viewer knowing everything Star Wars.
Okay.
They don't hold your hands that much. I mean, they gave us that little speech in the beginning about what the kind of Inquisitors are and stuff, but there's a lot of assumption that you've like played the games and watched Rebels and you've done all the extracurricular activities to catch up to this.
It's definitely the Marvel form of, we hope you guys know this stuff because here it is.
And to be honest, like they can get away with that. They can get away with it because it's already the most watched, Disney Plus show ever. They're making more money than ever. So is Marvel. Like they know that everyone already knows this stuff. So why pander to a handful of people that haven't watched it? And instead pander to the people that have watched everything. And I'd much rather have that than have my handheld.
No, and like I said, I mean, yeah, we might be sitting here bashing it a little bit, but I still enjoyed it. And
So
I haven't
what
even
about
finished the
this?
second episode, and I feel like you guys keep talking about the
Well, let's talk
parts that
some
I
good stuff
haven't seen.
then. What stuff do you like, Alex, so far?
I don't know. I like. I don't know. There's something about it that I just enjoy. There's
Trevor
something
thumbs that up.
it's kind of fun. It's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't know.
fun.
I just, you know.
I like it. I don't know why.
I can't pinpoint it. That's the thing, is like I can pinpoint all these things that I don't like, but when it comes
Do you
to the
think
things
it's a
that
lot of nostalgia though that you like?
maybe
Is like, because I wonder if that's a lot of it too. Like to Trevor's point earlier, like the reason why the prequels are getting this kind of renaissance in a way of like people appreciate it, I don't know if people are necessarily appreciating it so much as it they were kids and they grew up with it, so it's nostalgia for them. Like there are plenty of absolutely terrible films that I watched growing up that I love to death. And if I were
I
to
know
see
we
something
had to
related
watch
to
a
that,
lot of them.
I would love it. Right, exactly. But that's the same thing that's happening with the prequels. It doesn't mean that they are good movies. It just means that these kids that grew up with it have a nostalgia for it. So this is that continuation of the nostalgia for those people. And that's what's happening. And that's what's happening for me as well for a lot of this stuff. It's like I'm like, oh gosh, I remember all this stuff from the original trilogy that I'm getting choked up over, seeing the original, characters and things and the toy that he gives Luke. And it's like, wow, like nice callback.
Yeah.
I like that stuff. So fan service, but I enjoy it.
And I think maybe that's what it is. I'm getting a little bit of that fan service. And like, for instance, the second episode, that planet that they go to where it looks like Tokyo, I really liked seeing that. Like that's where
now we get a new planet, right?
We got a new planet, and it looked awesome. It looked like this cool cyberpunk planet where finally I'm seeing something else rather than sand and two suns.
Not only that, it's not a new planet, but we do get to see it for the first time. We get to see Alderaan.
Oh, it's true.
Exactly.
It's like a newish planet. So,
and I think
another new planet.
Seeing Leia's parents, it was I don't know, seeing them back again, playing the same characters. It was
cool seeing Jimmy Smits back as Bail Organa.
Yes.
And he must have been de-aged, right? Like there was something up with his face I couldn't quite figure out. So I think they must have de-aged him a bit because he wouldn't have aged that much. He kind of looked
like he does in The Heights.
Maybe.
In The Heights,
there was something weird with his face for some reason I wasn't paying close enough attention to, I guess. But let's go. I think we should talk about that then. Alex, I'm assuming because that was the first episode that their scenes were predominant in, I would say, right? Because the second episode they were off planet,
right,
rescuing Leia. So
which
I thought that was really intriguing.
Side mission. I was hoping that this wasn't going to be side mission show, and it kind of felt like it with the first.
It comes from the makers of Mandalorian.
Yes,
that's what they do.
Hey, here's a side quest. Go do this.
Side quest.
Yeah.
But what did you think of the Organas? And
I really like them. I like the dynamic. I like seeing happy families. I do. I like that. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was a nice change of pace. I think it felt different than what we've seen in these shows, and I kind of enjoyed that. It was like a change of pace. You get to see, what everyone else is doing in the galaxy at this period. Like these people are like, I don't know, high up enough that they're not really affected by all of this awfulness that's happening. And they don't care.
We all know
they're dying, so what?
Right. We all know what's about to happen to that planet, but to see it in such peace and in such like beauty in every way. It's
probably the best looking Star Wars planet we've seen on
It's
film.
Amazing.
Right.
And then to know what's about to happen to it in 9 years' time, it's bonkers.
Well, it also helps add weight to that. Like before we didn't know anything about this planet. Now we're like, now we know these characters and we actually care about them. Oh shoot.
Yes. So while I'm watching that, Bale's like, one day you're gonna rule these people, and I'm like,
I was thinking
she does a great job. Like I know that. I think he's still alive, so she's not. That's why she's still a princess and she isn't Queen of Alderaan. But literally, she's of age to make decisions, and one of the first things she does is to have her whole planet get destroyed because she won't give up the information.
Now, to be fair, she didn't think that would actually happen. But yeah. She
pretty epic mistake of having an entire planet, however many billions of people live there. Done. You led your people excellently well. It's the Thor school of leading your people.
Hey, if that's the only way she can get her cousin, offed, then hey, it worked.
That cousin, the speech to the cousin was pretty great. That was one of my favorites.
It's a lot of sass in that little girl, that's for sure. And she was definitely using some of her force powers, which was fun. Looking into his mind a bit. I enjoyed that. To watch Bale look over her, like, what are you doing over there?
I think I liked that because I'm sitting there thinking, as a dad of a father of a daughter, I feel like my daughter's probably going to be a little sassy thing. So I'm just imagining
she's your daughter,
being my kid one day being a little sassy thing. Hopefully she can pull it off just as well too. So I think that's what I liked about it. But then it turned into the chase scene, and I hated that chase scene so much. Oh.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Who out there is going to defend that chase scene? I swear. I don't know which one is worse.
Who defend the speeder bikes on. Yeah, the cyberpunk speeder bikes in Book of Boba Fett. There's defenders, I'm sure.
There are.
Loyalists.
Whatever.
I
really enjoy all the droids, so I was happy to see
the butterfly droid, Lola.
Lola's great, fantastic.
Great.
Yeah, we had gonk droids even. Yeah. This was a good 2 episodes for droid fans like me.
So do you get, when you see new droids like that, my immediate reaction is, oh yeah, Disney's gonna make a ton of toys of that. They're gonna sell it at Disney Quest, or what is it? Disney whatever.
Disney Quest.
It's
a Galaxy Quest thing by Disney.
Okay. Perfect. Yes, live long and prosper.
Yes.
What is it called?
A new one. I don't know what you're talking about.
What, are you talking about Galaxy's Edge?
Thank you, Galaxy's Edge. Oh. Yeah, they're gonna sell those things at Galaxy's Edge because now they're gonna turn it into a little drone, and little kids can. Look, my Lola.
They already announced it the day after at San Diego. Jeez, I'm gonna call it Comic-Con. Sorry, at Star Wars Celebration the next day on Friday, they were already there on the floor.
See, so I told you, dude.
I kind of want one of those. We'll see if they repair Lola or not.
Oh my god!
Yeah. Will they repair Lola?
Whatever.
We shall see. I'm just excited because I really do like Inquisitors. I like Reva, even though she didn't have always the best lines written for her, which is unfortunate because I really do like the actress a lot. She was great in The Queen's Gambit. It was great to see her in that outfit. And I love Trilla as well. And I just like the Inquisitors, and I like the sisters. So
the third sister was interesting just because she wasn't like full-on Sith looking, like she didn't have the yellow eyes and all the like big huge bags or red or anything. She looked pretty much like, I'm just wearing a black cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder, like, why is she trying to find Kenobi so bad? Is there something else? Is there another reason? Like, is she wanting this redemption? Like, is she like, I made a big mistake to get out of the gutter? And maybe she's trying to retain that, and that's why she's being so evil. I don't know. I could be looking too much into that.
Well, she might be playing it. She does feel like she's playing it being a Sith because she's overtly, like even the fifth brother and the Grand Inquisitor are like,
yeah, they're like,
slow your roll.
Dude, they're a couple times they're like, dude, chill.
Yeah. So I'm thinking there's an ulterior motive there that we have not been privy to yet.
That's interesting. See, that's why I love that we do this show, because that just opened my world up to a whole different way of looking at it. You know what it probably is? Mephisto. There it is, folks. One more time.
Mephisto is in her. She's just a manifestation of Mephisto.
It's been controlled, yeah.
He's a crane.
There you go.
Yep.
Anyways. Well, all in all, it sounds like we all kind of liked it, Trevor. All kind of liked it.
I think I liked it probably more than everybody else, but I mean, it's not the best thing ever.
For me right now, I'm on the fence. I have to wait for them to do something. Like, these 2 episodes did not leave me excited for episode 3. I'm watching episode 3. It's Star Wars. We do a podcast about it, but I'm not like, oh man, is it Wednesday already?
Oh, I don't get that way.
Well, it's almost Wednesday, so a few more hours.
But I wanted to save the last 15 minutes for you guys to talk about Star Wars Celebration.
Oh, we're out of time, you said? Was that what you said? I'm just kidding.
I do want to give a shout out to the guy who plays Boba Fett as an old clone when they go to the city.
That was fun. I forgot about that. That was a cool
God,
scene.
I was going to mention that.
A clone trooper.
Yeah.
I was going to see
live action clone trooper. It's always exciting to see.
The clone troopers, man.
Thought.
Pour one out for clone troopers. Like, we don't get to talk about them that often, but they gave them an accelerant in aging because they needed to be military ready for the Clone Wars period, but that doesn't stop once Clone Wars ends. So these guys age out really fast.
Yeah, look how bad he looked.
They could have a whole show about Clone Wars post Clone War.
Yeah.
So okay, I'm sorry. I knew that I was skipping ahead, thinking, okay, we'll get into Star Wars Celebration, but I wanted to bring this guy up because I was just curious. Like, he was supposed to be a clone of Boba Fett. Or Jango Fett.
Clones are all clones of Jango Fett. And Boba Fett is either one that he specifically adopted or his actual natural son. We don't know fully.
That's true. We never
depends who you. Yeah, it depends who you talk to.
Now he came out. He was sitting there with his helmet, and he said, "Hey, give some money to a veteran." How did you get like? We're just now coming off a Memorial Day, and this guy's sitting here doing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You find
I didn't put that connection together, but it's probably a stronger connection than the Texas shooting to the Order 66.
Yeah. Oh, but I don't think anything of that was planned, obviously.
Well, of course not.
Set up that way. But no.
I just found it very...
I wasn't thinking of that at all.
I don't know. I just got like very Born on the 4th of July vibes with stuff like that with Tom Cruise. Yeah. So I was just wondering if maybe you guys maybe got a little hint of that as well.
I didn't until right now, but now specific. I feel bad.
Well, and that's why I was like, is that why he's not? Is that why? Hey, Obi-Wan's an American. Is that why he gave him money? Because Obi-Wan, he's a red-blooded American helping out them veterans. So yeah. I was just curious.
No, I think it was just a callback. That's all it was.
Yeah,
it probably was too much into it.
I think the only reason I probably would have looked past that too, but the fact that he said, "help out a veteran," I was like, it was almost like it was pointful.
Yeah.
No, it was,
but it's the phrase itself. No, I understand.
It's the phrase itself. Like, we hear that in America all the time. You know,
I get
make
you.
sure
you
help your veterans
for sure.
So I don't know, maybe and I guess, like I said, being right on the heels of Memorial Day, that's why it kind of stuck out to me. So I was just curious, maybe that stuck out to you guys. Sounds like it didn't as much as me, but
it's okay. I like it. It's a good. When I rewatch it, I'll think of you, Alex.
Oh no, think of the veterans.
Yes. Of course, I'll think of it.
Don't think of me.
And then you guys brought up comedians. What did you think of Kumail Nanjiani showing up?
It.
Yeah,
Hated it.
I figured Alex did not care for that. I thought he was perfect for that role. I know he's a little bit off-putting for some because it was kind of over the top for Star Wars, but like it made sense for him to be that character, if that makes sense. Any character, be the guy who's the swindler.
Mm-hmm.
So.
They could have put anybody else there. I for some reason, there's something about him that just didn't, like, for me, fit.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely over the top. And that's a lot of these actors that are kind of like,
they feel like they're tossed
cameos.
In. Yeah.
They're tossed in. Yeah.
Right. And that's what it felt like.
Unfortunate.
And you see Flea, and then all of a sudden you see him. It's like, what's happening? Hollywood,
well, he was
get out of my
alive,
Star Wars.
So who knows? He might play a bigger role later on. He did help them escape. So
he's an Eternal after all. So
that's true.
That's true. Yeah.
Oh boy.
And could Obi Wan been more nondescript. Like if he was supposed to like blend in, right? But he looked like a Jedi with the hood up.
Jedi
No one
hood.
else was wearing
He
a
had
hood.
his
He stands there like a
lightsaber
hood.
just
The
dangling.
lightsaber thing where he goes on and he boards. Like they did it to show the audience, but literally everybody who's going around that ship saw the lightsaber too.
You would think so.
Yeah, he's not very stealth at all.
Nope.
Yeah.
Good old middle-aged Ben Kenobi.
And then shout out to also, was he practicing boxing or just anything? Like he's able to take guys out with one punch.
Oh, he was great.
Like, he became One Punch Man when he showed up. It didn't matter. Like he's been a Jedi. I don't know when he's practiced any kind of hand-to-hand combat at all. But he was really good being 10 years sitting in a cave.
Maybe him and Tika were fighting it out in the cave every day. Just practicing.
Tika, if you're gonna steal my stuff, could you mind cleaning it up?
God, what a great line delivery that was.
I love that part. Good. I'm not a big Jawa fan, but that part I liked it. It brought a personality to the Jawas because the Jawas seem very one note to me. Like they steal things and they run away and they like there's not a whole lot to them. For him to actually sit there and have a conversation with him, I'm like, okay, I'm kind of on board with this guy. I like this. What was his name again?
Tika.
Yeah. And then one other part we didn't talk about, which is a big spoiler, and I don't know how to face it, is that the third sister stabs the Grand Inquisitor.
Hold on, let me take my earphones off so I don't hear the spoiler.
We already said it.
Oh my god!
The problem with it being a spoiler is that the Grand Inquisitor is from the show Rebels, and you can only die so many times.
Yeah, you can't die twice. I mean, I guess you could. But when that happened, I jumped out of my seat in the audience. I was like, what? What's going on right now? That's when I realized he must not be dead, clearly.
Because there's a time period thing like, well, does this come after Rebels or before? It doesn't matter when it comes. You can only die once. It doesn't matter where the time period it is. You can only die once.
Yes. So obviously.
I don't know.
Obviously, he's not dead. Exactly.
Yep. So they'll just sew him up because the Grand Inquisitor is a lot of machine already. So.
Oh God! Look at Boba Fett. Boba Fett too. Parts. Look at General Grievous.
Fennec Shand. Everybody.
Oh my God!
Grievous is a really good example.
Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty much on machine.
Everybody comes back to life in this show. Or
no one's ever truly gone.
No one's ever. Hopper. Oh wait, I'm sorry, wrong show.
Yeah, do you think what's his face is going to show up? Is Liam Neeson going to reprise his role as Qui-Gon?
I kept waiting for it.
Big tease. That's a tease. I knew
because the previously on picks the line where Yoda says, you need to learn how to commune with your former master. Yeah.
It was specific, yeah.
I'm thinking he's not in Star Wars. He lended his voice over to Clone Wars a few times.
Yeah.
See him come out in the blue glow. Oh, that'd be fun. I dig it. See, it's little things like this. Now I'm getting more excited about the show.
Well, there you go.
It's too early to tell.
Amp up the action.
It's too early to tell, Alex. Don't like it.
Well, don't worry. I'm so deep into Stranger Things right now, so whatever.
That's for
later.
So we took a whole bunch of more minutes. So Prague, Star Wars Celebration in 1 minute. Go.
This was my only Star Wars Celebration I've ever been to, so I don't have anything to compare it to other than other cons. I love Star Wars. I grew up with it. It's not like something I stumbled upon later in life, so it's a big nostalgia thing for me. So I thoroughly enjoyed Star Wars Celebration. I do think that it's something that was stretched too thin for me. I think it would have been better as like a 2-day con, but I know that's hard to get people from, all over the world to come to it if it's only going to be for 2 days. But I don't think it's a con worthy more than 2 days. You can pretty much see and do everything in that period of time, especially with all the content that they had, all the panels and stuff. I was lucky enough to attend 2 of the panels. One was the live stream for the Lucasfilm showcase, and then I got to see in person the Mando Plus, which was phenomenal. I got to see the entire cast of all their shows, like Ahsoka, and what else they have there? The Book of Boba Fett has some people out there. And did they announce anything new? No, they announced other stuff at the other panel, but it was exciting to see that. I got to see the real baby Grogu from the set. They brought him to that panel and on stage, and he was
That's
moving
what
around.
that photo was.
Yeah, it was cute. So
very cool.
And that was the real deal. So it was fun to see. But yeah, it was nice. If you're into Star Wars, I would say you would have to really be into Star Wars. If you're just a casual fan, I think just going for a day would be fun. I don't know if you would necessarily need to go for the entire weekend. But as someone who is a diehard fan, like there's so many people there. Just talk to people, like go up to people in line while you're waiting and just make friends and talk to them. You're bound to find a bunch of people that are also into Star Wars and different factions of Star Wars. I think Star Wars at this point has kind of branched off in so many different directions that you can, be anyone and enjoy, what Star Wars has to offer. So, and there's no need to be negative or hateful or mean to people if they like something that you don't. It's one thing to have an opinion. It's another thing to tell people that they're wrong, that they love what they love. So there's been a lot of hate in the Star Wars community this weekend. So I just want to point that out there. Don't be a racist butthole. Thanks.
Watch your mouth. Oh my God. Well, not only that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Trevor.
No, you can go ahead. I was just.
What I was going to say is, you didn't just do Star Wars Celebration. You also went to Galaxy's Edge, not Galaxy's Quest or whatever. So
not Galaxy's Quest, but I did go to Galaxy's Edge. I finally got to go on Rise of the Resistance, which was fantastic. A great ride where you actually feel like you're in the movies itself. It's fantastic.
AK the best
recommended.
Ride ever.
Pretty much. I just wish it were longer. I wish I kept going. I think it was too short, but that might be because it was so much fun that it kind of went by so fast. But a lot of those rides at Disney, they're kind of like that. Like they're a lot of fun, but they're pretty short. So
I think the
maybe
full ride
they can make more rides like
minutes.
that. Yeah, it went by so fast for me. I was so excited. I was having so much fun.
But I think I brought that up because to spend your weekend doing Star Wars Celebration and then to go to Galaxy's Edge and kind of feel like you're a part of the Star Wars universe a little bit in such a weird way, being at Disney. I mean, it's got to be kind of special to do, especially with that being your first time for both of those things.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, not your first time for Galaxy's Edge, but first time
for that ride at least.
Yeah,
sure. And I finally got to get my lightsaber, which is fun. I picked out Cal Kestis lightsaber, so I have his. And I did get what else did I get there? I got some shirts and a sweatshirt, which was really nice. I'm into Ralph McQuarrie artwork. Probably spent way too much money, but it was fun, worth it. Got sunburnt.
And that was priceless.
It was fun. It was. Still feeling it. Still peeling.
Cool. Any final thoughts, guys?
So I did want to talk about Star Wars Celebration because I went with Prague on Thursday.
Oh my God.
The only problem... Yeah, I did not post anything because Prague was posting everything. What am I going to do? Some second-rate posting?
Oh my God.
Secondary posting?
So I wanted to go to Star Wars Celebration since 2015, and I didn't go that year. And so I've wanted to go ever since, but it's been in London and Orlando and Chicago. And so it was finally going to be back in Anaheim in 2020. And then, of course, that got delayed. And so it finally happened. So I was going to go no matter what. And they probably could have. But this was not a good weekend to pick. You don't pick a holiday weekend for a con. There's other weekends to pick throughout the year that don't have holidays. And I think the biggest takeaway I had was it was just smaller. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. I don't know if it's where Star Wars is right now and it's not the biggest fandom around like it once was. Like, imagine if they did a Marvel Celebration. Don't you think there would be more people there? Like, attendees, there was a ton of attendees. It's the actual vendors and the stuff on the show floor that was rather sparse because it's at the Anaheim Convention Center, the same place that WonderCon is. And if you know your cons, you know that WonderCon is the smaller, younger brother of SDCC. It's made by the same people. And WonderCon was bigger. there's more vendors, there's more going on. It filled up more of the Anaheim Convention Center than Star Wars Celebration. And it was just surprising to see. And again, I don't know if it's just something to do with how Disney is positioning Star Wars right now, but the panel that we saw, it was cool. We got to see Andor trailer. Andor looks surprisingly really
Andor,
good.
that's the one.
Yeah. And we had some fun announcements, but part of the announcements were just Lucasfilm announcements. Like Willow is going to be a TV show that they announced like 6 months ago, but here's a trailer for it. And then they announced Indiana Jones 5, and then they had John Williams come out and do a live version of the Kenobi soundtrack. And that was all super cool, but it wasn't like meaty Star Wars stuff. There wasn't like, oh, here's that Taika new 2023 Star Wars film. Or, here's the Rian Johnson planned sequel trilogy, or here's any kind of things that we've been planning that are big scale.
Here's the Old Republic movie we always wanted to make for you guys.
It was all the TV show stuff. And I wonder if they're saving the big stuff for D23. And that's what actually puts a clamp on Star Wars Celebration by itself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the answer.
A problem with Comic-Con as well, with San Diego Comic-Con. We kind of felt that the last couple of times. And now that we've gone a couple years without it, maybe a lot of these vendors found different ways to promote their stuff without having to go to a con and spend all that money sending people and talent to cons. So
it's like, it's not a direct comp, but it's kind of like in the tech industry, everybody used to go to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas in January. CES is a big super deal. And then Apple's like, hey, we're going to have our own thing. And then Samsung's like, we should do that. And then Google's like, oh, we're going to have our Google I.O. thing. We're doing that. And then Microsoft's like, hey, we can do that. And then Facebook or Meta is doing the same thing. And so now this big consumer electronics shows, the biggest names in tech host their own events. And with Disney owning Star Wars and Marvel, as well as Disney and Pixar, that's a big chunk that San Diego's like, we kind of want that stuff. And Disney's like, we're hosting our own con.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of like E3. E3 got stripped down
canceled.
Stripped down to nothing.
So, Microsoft's like, hey, look, we have our whole Xbox Fan Fest thing where we're just going to announce everything we have. And then Nintendo does all their Nintendo Directs. And Sony's like, oh, here's all of our Sony stuff. We have a special event just for the PS5 and yearly updates. And so E3's like, oh, we don't have Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo doing anything new.
I will say to Star Wars credit, they did, I think, the best they possibly could with what they had. Like with what limited shows they had coming out. Like they brought all the stars of all the shows. So that was pretty impressive for them to fly out them. I know Rosario Dawson showed up to my panel and she wasn't even supposed to be there that weekend because she is literally filming like that day and got out of costume and came and drove up to Anaheim to be at that panel that I was at.
Dude, imagine if she came in as Ahsoka though.
Yeah, it'd be fine.
I like when Jon Favreau said that the volume is over in El Segundo or whatever, and Dave Filoni's like, yeah, that's super far away.
Right?
That's not just like an hour.
That's funny. Yeah, but anyways, it was so they did. I think it was worth it. As I said, if you're a diehard fan, I think it's worth it. If you're a casual fan, maybe not. But if you are in the area and you lived in LA and you had go for a day, yeah, I think it's worth it for a day. But yeah, if you're someone who's like flying in from like New York to go to a 4-day Star Wars celebration, you're just someone who happens to like the original trilogy or something, yeah, you're probably not going to get as much out of this as you would like. So
I think I just was left wanting more, and I don't know what that entails. I don't know if there's ever going to be a big full-fledged Star Wars celebration again, just the way that Disney can hold back stuff.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too.
But we have Kenobi to look forward to, and again, I said Andor looks like a continuation of Rogue One. Like it looked like movie-style cinematography.
Yes,
Rogue One is beautifully shot.
That director's amazing. I don't know, but it looks
I'm
great.
looking more forward to talking about Stranger Things and The Boys. But hey, let's keep this Star Wars thing going.
There's a ton of stuff going on. It doesn't matter what your fandom is. Something's happening. These studios, man, they missed over the past couple of years. They're like, here's everything, everywhere.
Here's everything all at once.
All at once.
Yes.
Oh, I still got to see that movie.
And so, to everyone listening, we hope you look forward to us talking about more Kenobi and talking Stranger Things and just talking everything that's coming out that is remotely interesting. Because we got time, I guess, to watch all this stuff. But until then, We hope you enjoyed, and we'll talk to you next time.
All right. Prog out.
Adios, y'all.